Hey everyone, today we are going to talk about the seaming on items and a little bit of a cap code review. There's been a lot of changes after the last couple markets where we've dropped some cap codes on independent items. I want to make sure we review that. And then also, I've had a couple questions in the last few months about the way that things come in different covers. The seaming is different, they look a little different, so I want to make sure everyone's aware of what we're getting into with that. So first things first, I think everybody knows when you order something in leather, sometimes it looks different when you order it in fabric. So this is a great example. You can see the seams that run kind of vertically on the backrest of the Trooper chair. They're not there in a cover fabric. Now, the Trooper specifically, we select it in that I-Northwest fabric. And so you'll notice in the select fabric, the seams are identical to what they are in leather. They are intentionally put in to mimic the leather look. Whereas if you go through and order the Trooper in another cover, you don't have those seams. Even though it's fabric to fabric, because it's select and it has that leather type feel to it, they have cut the kit to look exactly like a leather kit. So if you have somebody looking at the Trooper, whether it's the recliner, sectional, sofa love, whatever it is, on the floor, and they decide to change the fabric, just be sure that we're letting them know that those vertical seams that run the chair in the select fabric or in the leather will not be there in any of their custom fabrics. Another example of that you guys just received in is the Dorian. Again, we see a seam here on the headrest in Dorian and leather. That seam is repeated in the select fabric in the iRivers. And then if you do any custom fabric, those seams go away. You guys actually show in your vignette the recliner in the Essex fabric, I believe, for the Lebco stores. A lot of you guys have different covers on the floor throughout, but just keep in mind that if you have a different cover on that chair, other than the iRivers, you will not see those seams in the headrest on that one. Joel's another one. Now, Joel doesn't have leather available, but the iMontekia is seamed like a leather. You can see that seam runs all the way down to the footrest. And then there's some seams in the armrest as well. You've got the seam detail on the side, on this side. And that's not visible when you do like the Kemet fabric or any other cover. I just want to make sure we're clear on that one. Now, Aspen is a little bit different. So Aspen, you keep the seams, but you can tell in these three pictures, it's very hard to see it in this custom fabric. The leather you can see easily, the select you can see easily, but this textured Roma fabric, it's very hard to tell. So again, if you have a customer that's very particular, you want to make sure that we point out to them that those seams might be hidden depending on the texture of the fabric. Okay, so the next segment is talking about the different seam styles. We have a couple pieces that are intentionally very different from fabric to leather to create a different detail. So you've got the Finley, which I think you guys have all seen. You've got the channel stitching in the backrest and then on the side of the piece when it's in a leather, and that's any leather, and your fabric doesn't have that. No matter what fabric you used, it's just not part of the detail in the kit the way they've sewn it. And the other one is Turner. So in Turner, you've got this kind of overlapped seam in the center of the headrest. It's repeated in the center of the footrest in leather, and that's in the select or in any of your custom leathers. And in fabric, it's just one solid headrest piece and one solid footrest piece. So again, just making sure if your customer is looking at something, one of these two in leather, making sure that they know if they order in a fabric, those seams go away. Some people, they're super happy because they didn't like the seam. Other people, they may decide to stay in a leather because they do like the look of that detail on their item. And then the last thing that's come up quite a bit is your leather stitching. So we have a handful of pieces that have this detailed top stitch. Talladega is one of the biggest ones. You can see it has this stitching around the down the center. You've got it around the edges. It's a high contrasted thread. We use a cream color on most of them. And you can see in this custom leather piece, there's still a seam there. There's still seams along the edges, but none of that detail stitching is there. The same thing is true for the Norris. You can kind of see in this picture over here, we've got this X detail stitching that is a key identifier of the Norris, and so many people love it. If you order the Norris in anything other than the select leathers, that top stitch detail goes away. And that's true for any of the frames that have a top stitch detail. So your Soarin' is one of them. There's a few others that are out there. So if we show your sample in your select book with stitching detail, it's only on the select. That top stitch detail goes away if you do a special order. And again, some customers are so happy because they really don't like that look. But for many of our customers, that top stitch, like baseball seam look, is what they love about the item. And I just don't want you guys to run into issues down the road once they've spent more money to special order and it comes in without that top stitch detail that they're loving. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to do a cap code reminder. So we have a handful of recliners now that are leather only. We've dropped all the fabric cap codes. So the Douglas, the Grayson, and the Norris are leather only on the recliner group. And then for stationary sofas, you've got Draper, Lennox, Miles, and Theo. Those are your select leather stationary groups, but they are leather only. So just keep that in mind. Draper is new, so you guys won't see that for a little bit. And then for reclining sofa groups, you've got Douglas, Grayson, and Norris. So that's easy. It's a full set with Douglas, Grayson, and Norris that they're leather only. And then Talladega, the Sofa Love group, is now also leather only. So you can still get the chair of Talladega in fabric, but the Sofa Love group is leather only. And these are as of June of 2022. So it's been like this for a little bit, but I just wanted to send a reminder as you guys are ordering. I know the new price books are out. Your new catalog should be coming to clarify a lot of this, but just wanted to point out some big sellers for us. The reason we went to leather only on those recliners is because the majority of our orders were coming in leather anyway, and they're trying to streamline our options at manufacturing to make it a little easier on that end. So we also have some fabric only groups where we've dropped leather cap codes completely. So for your recliners, fabric only, you'll see the lift chairs are in here. Obviously, you can't do leather on a lift chair, so that simplifies some of that. But Addison is one that is leather only. The Casey, the Collage, Ezra, which is new. We talked about that at the market meetings, or you've seen it in the market releases. Gibson, they used to offer leather, so that's fabric only now. That's a bigger one. And then Joel and Vale are fabric only. And then your stationary sofas that are fabric only, the Alani, that's always been fabric only. Anything that has a removable backrest usually they do as fabric only. Alexandria, that's a big one. I know I've gotten a few questions about Alexandria. They did drop leather as an option on Alexandria. Amanda is the other one that I've recently gotten questions on. Those two, they dropped the LL cap codes on. Bexley, same thing. Laurel, Leah, Natalie, Paxton, and then Talbot is the other one that I think I've gotten a couple questions on that are now fabric only. Again, we got rid of those cap codes in June. And then, so your reclining sofas that are fabric only. So you've got Brooks, Easton, Jay, Joel, Morrison, and Robin. So the Jay used to come in a select leather and they dropped that leather between markets. And then at market, we've now made the Jay sofa group where it is fabric only. So again, just a reminder, the Talladega chair is still available in fabric. The Sofa Love groups on that are leather only. The Brooks, Easton, Jay, and Morrison, the chairs still come in leather, but those sofas are fabric only. So we did a little bit of a flip-flop. Again, your price books should reflect your cap code corrections, and then your catalogs are coming out. They should be in the stores in the next few weeks, hopefully, if you have not received them already, and that will kind of handle some of this. I've also attached an email to the direct email that you guys get this link from that has kind of a cheat sheet that's got the updated cap code versions for every item that we make just in a 3-page file. So you can use that as a quick reference if you're not sure. Again, that's updated manually. So if you do catch an error, please let me know and I can correct it. But I've done my best to make sure that those are as accurate as possible for your reference. And again, if you guys have any questions, please reach out. There's obviously your quiz that's attached here, and I will see you soon.